Episode 12 of the Gym Guys podcast. You can check us out on Instagram at Gym Guys Pod or on YouTube, Gym Guys Podcast. Always honored to be with my co-host, Eric Schwartz, owner of Poor Power, consultant to Apollon Nutrition, and many other talents. Just came out with his new Omegas for your dogs. Better check it out because it's been great for my dog with how she eats and also how she feels health-wise. We have Jason Budsock, our VP of Sales for Animal. He's been there for over 2 decades, designing all the products that you know and love. One of the best people around to make the products and who you can trust to use them. And our next guest that we're absolutely honored to have, again, retired IFBB Pro, owner of Mile Labs supplement company, owner of Beauty Fit, as you can see in his background, owner of The Pit, personal training, I believe, with believing in only using the finest of the old school equipment, which is, I can relate to that. I love some of the picks that he's spoken about on past podcasts. And also a good friend of mine, Vinny Mariani, which says a lot about his tolerance for pain. So definitely honored to have the first ever Greek IFBB Pro, Jimmy Mentis, on our podcast today. Jimmy, thank you again so much for making the time and being on this.
Thank you for having me. It's great. I love this, and
we appreciate it.
Yeah, no,
and I know we want to give you the third degree and talk about all the great things that you're into, and I know there's been training with Rich Gaspari and so many other things that we could talk about. But our friend here, Eric, for some freaking crazy reason, went to Cleveland over the weekend. So we wanted to ask him what he did there and what was going on, and I'm sure you can relate to that as well. What did you do over there?
Yeah, I drove 7 hours each way to sponsor a bodybuilding show. And it sounds a little crazy, right? Dave Lieberman, who was a great bodybuilder in his own right and is a fantastic promoter. Every year he would come up to me at the Arnold and hand me his packet and ask us to sponsor his show. And I'd go back to Universal and propose it, and they would shoot it down, and not for any other reason that they get hit up by 1 million shows to sponsor this, so they can't sponsor every single show. But I felt bad, and for 11 years he would come up all the time, smile, hey, would you sponsor my show? And I said, if I ever get my own company, I'll sponsor one of your shows. And now that I have that opportunity, I agreed to sponsor a show. And it's also good for my brand too, because I do, as you guys know, I do events almost every weekend in New York and New Jersey promoting the brand. But I want to start hitting some of these other markets. So it was good for me to get out there to the Midwest. I drove 7 hours each way, and I thought I was going to dread it because I hate long drives, but it was actually very, therapeutic. I was unplugged from technology while I was driving. So I don't have this constant bombardment, and I was able to come up with a lot of cool creative business ideas. It kind of freed up my mind. So it was a really easy drive. There was almost no traffic. You're going through Pennsylvania almost the whole way. 70 was the speed limit. I was on cruise control. I barely hit my brakes. But I went out there, and Dave, let me tell you, this guy runs a heck of a show. It was all about the competitors. I stayed at the host hotel, and he really caters to the competitors and the sponsors. This guy knows how to put on a first-class show. It was a great theater. It was really, really well done. It's a natural show. NPC. They drug test the top 3 people with urinalysis, so it's pretty serious stuff. But it was really, really well done show, and I was impressed with Dave and the operation that he runs over there. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, you know Dave, Jimmy?
I know Dave. Dave, first of all, I competed with Dave at the Junior Nationals in New Orleans.
Okay, so we were discussing before the podcast. We were wondering if you guys ever crossed paths.
We actually have a picture. I don't want to go through 30,000 pictures, but we have a picture standing side by side. But let me tell you, Dave is relentless about getting sponsorships. When we knew each other and we talked, it was hey, yeah. As soon as he saw that I had Beauty Fit, everywhere I went, everywhere I saw Dave, hey Jimmy, and you know how we come up to you like this, right? With the poster. Can you hold the poster? It's crooked. Jimmy, it's crooked. Hold it straight. So I was okay, I'll write you a check. So in a joking way, I made the mistake and I sponsored the first show, right? I mean, it's like the mafia. You can't leave.
You sucked in, yeah. You sucked in.
You're done. You're done. And I think I sponsored a show 6 years in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, 6 years in a row. And I said, Dave, I got to move on. I got to do something else, you know? And he got mad. He was very mad at me, you know? It's like, but he does promote a great show.
Yeah. Great turnout. A lot of
Yeah.
competitors. A lot of people came to see the show. It was really cool, man. He had Miss Olympia Andrea Shaw there. I got to meet her as well. She was super, super nice. What a nice woman, man. Very nice, humble person. So yeah, it was a good experience.
You drove from where?
From New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay. So
7 hours each way.
Right? Who else lives in New Jersey?
Jason does. Yeah.
What about Chris?
Jersey also.
Chris is Long Island.
I'm Long Island. I'm too close to Vinny. I got to move away from him.
And Jimmy, you're in Florida, right?
I'm in Florida. Yeah, originally from Jersey.
Originally from Jersey?
We're out in
Yeah,
Jersey.
I'm from Jersey, man. I graduated Wall Township.
Get out of here.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did you train when you lived in New Jersey? What gyms did you train at?
Well, I ran the Powerhouse Gym in Freehold.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I would train with Rich. I would train with Rich at Ron Capodanno's gym.
Okay. That's right near Universal headquarters, Muscle
Right.
Mill.
Right.
Muscle Mill, yeah.
Yeah. The Muscle Mill. That's right.
Yeah. It's right near
I
there. Like a
love
couple miles
that
away.
gym. I love that gym.
Ron doesn't own it anymore. It's still there, but he sold
Yeah.
it a couple of years
Yeah.
ago.
I used to, and then I trained at a Powerhouse Gym in Freehold. But then when I first moved to Jersey back from Greece, I trained at the Bradley Beach, the Key Club. Now
Okay.
it's across the street from the railroad tracks. It moved, but it was
Okay.
like
Jersey Shore Fit Shop, right? Is that
Right,
the gym?
right.
Yeah, yeah.
They actually gave you a key, and it was all little, you know, you just kept expanding, and you would walk in,
Wow.
and that's where I met Todd King, Jeff King's brother.
Okay.
And I swear to God, I thought that was Jeff King because he had the same legs.
Wow.
And I said, "You look like Jeff King." He goes, "Ha ha, he's my brother." I'm like, "Get out of here." He goes, "Yeah, it's my brother."
Got those genetics, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's take a step back. So you're originally from Greece. How long did you live there, and how old were
Originally
you?
from here. I was
Oh,
born
you're
in
originally
Jersey. Yeah,
You were born in New Jersey.
born in Jersey.
Okay.
Went to school in Wall Township. Then I moved to Greece in 80.
And how old are you at that time?
Oof, 15, 14. I'm
Okay.
65.
And why did you guys move to Greece?
Well, it was good. It was a good time to move to Greece. My parents wanted to move, but I was also playing soccer as well. And we had an opportunity for me to go play for a pro team, even in my teenage years.
Oh, wow.
So they basically said, "Well, let's go to Greece, but let's also get you playing on the team." So we moved to Greece, and I started playing basically almost professional soccer.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. And then I got an ACL tear. I got hacked, and I ended up in the gym. I never left.
So that's cool. So that's how you got your bodybuilding
Yeah.
start, by rehabbing an injury?
I had that soccer body, the hamburgers and hot dogs and milk with abs.
Interesting.
You ever see those
Wow.
guys? You ever see those guys? They take their shirts off when they score a goal.
Yep.
They just rip
Yeah.
bones,
Yep.
ripped. That
Yeah.
was me. I don't know what happened now, but that was me. So
Wow.
when I competed in 1984, I basically was playing basketball as well. Saturday was the show, and I won. And then Sunday I had a basketball game.
It's amazing.
I was all over the place. As an athlete, I was all over the place. I didn't know what sport I wanted to play. I played amazing basketball. You know, I was all-star in Europe. I was going to ACS, and I was nominated and voted 2 years in a row all team in Europe.
Wow.
Soccer. I love soccer, and through those injuries, I always fell in love with muscles. Though I love muscles. I love I didn't know what training was, but I love the look.
Right.
And I guess when I walked into that gym, it was a basement gym. I think it was like 900 square feet in Greece.
Right.
A basement. I walked in, and I'm like, this is nice. So we ended up buying that gym.
Cool.
My dad's like, you want to go to college? I'm like, no. Well, Either you're not going to go to college or you're going to work. Right? So I said, well, what do you think we buy this gym? He goes, all right, let me see what I can do. But it's if you fail, you fail, but if you work, you're going to make it happen. And we made it happen. And during, I can go on, man. But during 1984, in October 7th, I won the Teenage Mr. Grease.
Okay.
Because how do you promote your gym? Right? You just
Right.
compete and you promote your gym. The gym is called International Gym. 2 weeks later, I get drafted in the military, Greek military.
Wow.
Because- drafted because it was mandatory. Because when I played soccer, I was considered half Greek. Because back then, the Greek teams could only were allowed 2 foreigners, and they already had 2 foreigners in the pro ranks.
So did you have to get a citizenship?
I kind of had a citizenship, so I had a dual citizenship because of my parents.
Got it.
But I had to go to the American embassy to let them know that I'm going in the military without my will, so I won't lose my American citizenship.
Wow.
And they send me to the mountains, man. It was good. It toughened me up, but I was already kind of, disciplined and stuff. So I went there for 2 years. 2 months after I got out, I won the junior Mr. Grease in '86.
So you were training while you were still in
I actually went to an island for 16 months. It was an island called Lesbos, Lesbos.
Sure, I've heard of it.
It's about 300 miles from Turkey. Okay. And all the communication of all 350 islands all go through where I was on the mountain. Okay. I was stationed on a mountain that was called Aspri Petra, White Rock, that where I couldn't even see down. We were between the first set of clouds with the second set of clouds. Okay. So when I left to go there, I took my big military bag, the green military bag, and I put 2 20-pound dumbbells on the bottom. And that's all I had. So while I was up there, I was up there, I would do dips between the bunk beds. I would just train. And,
Was anybody else in the military there? Were they training
Nah,
too? Did they think you were
They all
weird?
thought I was freaking crazy. They all thought I was, but the first thing I did is I made friends with the chef, with the cooks back there.
I was going to ask you, how was the food?
Oh, it was great. It was great. I was getting the steaks. I was getting the fresh bread, the fish. I was eating, man.
Nice.
Well, they did that special for you.
I think they had a few people that would do special, but the thing is, I had this rank. I wasn't ranked, but somehow, some way, they ranked me, and I was in charge of all the communications to Athens. So
wow.
all the other guys would want to call their girlfriends and they want to call their wives and stuff like that, and they can only go through me because I knew how to work, all the stuff, and illegally I was letting them talk to their girlfriends and wives.
Nice.
So I was like, okay, let's work this out, guys.
Yeah, trading favors. I like it. That's cool, man.
Let's work this out. So it was good. It was good, and then I got out 86, and then I was full blown.
At that time, were you following like the American bodybuilding scene and the sport?
1986 is when I met Rich Gaspari on the Athens Grand Prix when they came to Greece, and I went backstage after the prejudging. I went straight up to him, but I had met Rich much earlier, a few years earlier, somewhere in the States. I came to the States for about a week to see my aunt and uncle, and I met Rich with, remember a brand, it never made it, but you remember a brand called BioCell? It was amino acid pack that you put it on your tongue. It was phenomenal. Okay, it was bitter. I mean, your eyes would water. But they had Rich, and they wanted to do something with me, And then I met Rich. We went to his house, you know, and that's when I met Rich. So when I knew he was competing in Greece, I went backstage to see him. And first thing I said, hey, what do you need? You need food? You know, because I kind of understood what was going on.
Mhm.
And he goes, yeah, man. He goes, the hotel sucks. I'm like, come on, let's go. So I take him to my house. I have chicken. I'm boiling chicken, you know, and they had to report back to the hotel. Meanwhile, they're all looking for Rich, and Rich is at my place chilling. I'm cooking boiled water, boiled chicken for him and stuff like that. And we became really good friends, you know. And then he came second, and he hates when I talk about this, but I say it all the time because it shows how competitive he was. He lost to Lee Labrada that year. Okay. It was not a good thing. Okay. And he had, for second place, they had given him this beautiful, at least 3-foot vase, you know, Greek vase, right? And then they were going on to the tour. Remember back then after the shows, they
The
go
Grand
on
Prix. Yeah.
Grand Prix, right? So
Yep.
like he goes, keep this piece of shit, keep it. You throw it away. I don't want it. You know?
Wow.
And I was like, well, to me, I was like, man, this is Rich Gaspari's. I'm keeping this shit, you know?
Yeah.
But then as I got to meet Rich and stuff like that, I'm like, I can't throw this away, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So fast forward about with that vase, I moved back to the States in 91. And I paid an extra ticket for that freaking thing. And I
For the
bought it.
for the vase.
Just
Wow.
4 years later, and 5 years later, and I brought it back to him. I said, hey, you know, and then Rich goes, hey, let's start training together. So we started training together.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was at the Muscle Mill, right?
That was, yeah, whatever. It was the goal. It was gold back then.
Okay. Right,
I would
right.
drive, you know, and here's a little knock on the new guys. Okay. I'm very biased of the old school. I'm very, okay. I would drive twice a day, 45 minutes to train with Rich Gaspari to learn. Okay. You don't see that shit today.
No.
Nobody wants to
No.
learn.
So
Nobody wants, you know, nobody wants to say, hey, show me, coach me. What did you guys do back then? Everybody knows everything now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what you're doing now, Jimmy, with the pit? Is that like you taking that and trying to apply it to the next generation?
Here's the issue with what I did with the pit is I'm actually coaching about 30 people right now. 20 of them were pros,
Wow.
but nobody knows it. I want them to live. We're talking about passionate bodybuilders, right? We're not talking about fly by nights. You know, they don't care about likes. They don't care. I mean, they don't even do that social media. They show up at shows and either they win first, second, or third. Okay. And some of their coaches are coming to me so I can help them, you know, because there are things that we've done in the past that, you know, everybody thinks there's a code, you know, it's like, oh, we figured out the code. No, man.
Right.
We cracked that code in our generation. It's called hard work.
Yeah. Everybody's looking, especially on social, everybody's looking for a hack. Like
yeah. If you look at my IG, I posted a video the other day of me doing rows, right? I got so many DMs are like, oh my God, that is the perfect row. Well, I've never seen a row like that. I'm like, guys, that's a row. There's nothing, you know, and I'm like, my God, these, you know, everybody wants to do something different. Everybody wants to sit on a machine backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. Always trying to find a new angle or something.
Right. Why? Then this is what I don't understand. And I think going back to the basics, if you look at Chris Bumstead, he's going back to the basics now with Hani. Then look at it, he's posting it. You know?
Right.
You know, you're telling me he's 3 times Mr. Olympia on his 4th year. He's like, holy shit, never trained as hard in my life. You know, really? You know, he should.
I'm assuming that back then, before you started training with Rich, when you're on your own, I'm assuming you were training very hard. Was it very different when you started training with Rich or what?
I got my ass handed to me.
Do you
know how many times I want to go back?
Really?
But I moved to the States to be a bodybuilder.
Right.
You know, I can say that maybe out of the 28 years I trained, I think 3 years after that, I trained as hard as that. Like the drive, the mental fortitude that Rich had, he can make you melt. You just melt. You're just like, you're done. I used to drive home all the way from Ron's gym back to Long Branch, New Jersey. Okay.
Right.
That's where I lived. And I'd be like, there's no way I can go back up there. I'm just dead. You know, and but our back workout was worse than our leg workout. And then our leg workout was worse than everything. You know, it's just beating. And once you saw me getting a little stronger, forget it. I was done. He destroyed me.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. He's a great guy. He's very competitive. You can see him. Look at his brand. He's been up and down, up and down, up and down. You know what? That guy won't give up.
Yeah, you can't keep him down. You're right about that.
You know.
I was gonna
So-
say the training, Jimmy, what you're talking about, like, I don't hear about that. I don't see that these days. I think like Eric, I watch Eric on TikTok. Like, I don't even post on TikTok, but I watch Eric going against all these guys about hypertrophy. Everything's about hypertrophy, which is really interesting because I didn't grow up in that environment. So I'm not used to seeing people train almost minimally. They try to get like their maximum results with like minimal effort. It almost seems like. What's your take on all the crazy, I don't know, like
here's
IG
where
and
here's where I
TikTok
got
stuff?
confused. Here's where I got confused. So I'm always open to learn, right? Because we will never know everything, and especially when you're with your body, you'll never master it. Never. Okay. So once I heard about working sets, okay, I was like, I'm sorry guys, but what's a working set? You know, I thought I knew, and I started making fun of it. I'm like, wait a second. All my sets are working sets. They're like, no. Okay, then explain to me, is there another way that I can do this? They're like, no, you do 2 warm-up sets, then you do 1 set all out. I'm like, that's why you look like that. You know? And I'm not saying in a bad way. I'm not saying a good way either. What's happening with the bodybuilders today is there's no quality muscle. There's no deep cuts. Okay. So they can be lean, they can be shredded, but there are no deep cuts. What is that? Because of repetition. The older you get, okay, age will help you with, get the quality muscle. But when you're starting out, you need those reps. You need those force reps. You see Vinny Galante right now, right? He's a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he's doing the time under tension. He can do that. He's got 30 years behind him, right? You can't do time under tension when you're coming out of the gate. There's no quality muscle. You got to work that muscle. You got to contract. You got to give it repetition. I mean, I'm 250 right now, and under the hair and the white skin, I got striations in my quads.
That's cool.
Because of the years of work and the quality. And that's where we're lacking. And here's what's happening with the guys. I know I'm going on a rant now, and you guys cut me off.
No, go for it. This is great.
No, this is what we want to hear. This is good.
So you guys wind me up and let me go, right?
Yeah.
So you see all these guys, and they're saying they're not in shape. They're not in shape. Okay. There's 2 reasons why they're not in shape. Number one, they're all 7 to 10 pounds heavier. No one wants to suck it down and just bring it down. Okay. And number 2, there's hardly any quality under there. Okay. Nick Walker. If you go past all those veins, there's no quality there. Okay. Remember Milos? Remember Chris Cormier?
Yep.
Remember, they just stood there and they flexed their legs and they're like a rose. It just opened like a rose. Okay. Now you got Samson coming in. Okay. You got Samson coming in with some size. He's still lacking the quality.
There's definitely a different look to that, like 90s bodybuilders than
Yeah.
today.
The way the guys look now, we were ready 3 weeks out. So like I said, there's two reasons why they look like this. Number one, they're not dieting hard enough. Okay. And number two, their off season, they're not training hard enough in their off season. They're doing all this freaking shit that the time under tension and a working set. So I have pros coming to the pit and I train with them. I don't record, I train with them. And they can't find the front door.
Wow.
Not because I train heavier, because I get into that hole. And they're like, this is what I need. I'm like, no shit. So, and every guy I talk to, everybody loves to look good and they want to compete and stuff like that. But there's a lot more to it. I mean, you have to be passionate. Look at us guys. And again, I'm very biased too, the 90s and stuff, right? But I mean, it wasn't about the money for us.
Right. Most guys back then weren't making.
Right. I mean, look at us now. We're still doing it. We're still training. We're still around. We're still going. And now, and I said something the other day on a different podcast. I doubt they'll air it. That I bet you with the new system, Olympia system, there's no point system.
Right.
You're gonna have 50% of the pros drop out.
Interesting.
It's not fun anymore.
Very interesting.
And we're not talking about only bodybuilders. I'm talking about in general.
Yeah, you look at what was going on at the Arnold too, right? I mean, they had to enhance that pay date big time to get people to join the Arnold. I know you were there and you go traditionally, and you talk about the Arnold in November and you're like, wow, this is a non-show. And all of a sudden money came up and it just changed the whole trajectory of everyone going in it.
Right. But who did it?
Right.
The names, right? So you got the Ian Valairs, you got the my mind just stopped. So you got all these guys who didn't place in the top 5, right? Now they're they're just going crazy trying to find a show that they might be able to win.
Right.
I think a big difference too is you touched on something before with Rich. I'm a proud owner of some old VCR tapes of Rich in the Grand Prix shows back in the 80s. And Eric or Jay, if you never watched it, one day, somehow, some way, I'll find a way to transfer it. I mean, you want to talk about conditioning on stage. I mean, if anyone saw this footage, it's actually, if Sean Ray's watching this, I'm sorry, Sean Ray, I actually have your tape because I used to work out at Gold's Fullerton, and a friend of his said, here, I'll give you this tape. You give me one of the Road to the Olympias. And we traded. So I got one of Sean Ray's European tour tapes. And when I saw Gaspari up there with DeMay and the front pose and then the rear pose, I was just like, holy shit, like grain upon grain upon grain. It was just a different level of that clean line conditioning. And that's not to disparage or say I'm not a fan of pros that are on stage now. I wouldn't be able to hold a candle to anyone, flexing one of their fingers. But it is definitely a different type of detail that's going on out there right now. And watching the way Gaspari trained, which I always think Rich Gaspari was crazy, hardcore, relentless, never stop, never settle for less. And I would always think about him next to like Tom Platz. Another one just took it to the extreme mentally and physically, both,
Right.
torso and lower body, although he was always recognized for lower body. I think those are some of the things that I see that are just different in today's age.
Here's the thing. Everybody looks good on stage because the lighting. These guys in person, I remember Rich used to drop his pants, right? Because we would always pose after the workout. We would go into the aerobic room, and the aerobic room was all yellow. You know how the worst lighting is in dressing rooms and aerobic rooms. Okay, and you literally just see, not even in the mirror. I mean, it just looked fake. It just looked fake.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know?
Rich was the first pro bodybuilder that I saw in person. He did a seminar in World Gym in Staten Island back in the day. And I just couldn't believe how much muscle and how three-dimensional he looked, and that a human could look that way. I just could not believe it.
That whole 3D, Phil Heath got it done as well. Because Phil Heath had that quality muscle.
Yeah.
But again, he was sick. He did his thing. He said he was going to be Mr. Olympia. And then what happened? You're Mr. Olympia. Now you got all the pressure of the world to continue, right? You know, same thing with Dorian. Everybody, and Ronnie. I mean, you can't, every Mr. Olympia paid their dues in the training and in dieting. So when someone posts out and says, "Oh, this is 3 weeks out," or when you see Hunter Labrada posting a picture or a video now, you know, of progress, it means nothing to me. It's like I don't even follow these guys when they do this. I unfollow because it doesn't matter how good you look now. It doesn't matter. Just, you know what? And I know it's social media, and I know it's for the views, it's for the likes, and they get paid on the YouTube channel.
They have to promote
Yeah.
themselves. I don't begrudge them
Absolutely.
that.
But here's the issue. If you had $100,000 a year coming from bodybuilding, now you can split that in two payments. 50,000 from YouTube, 50,000 from competition. So now your efforts are half-ass. But if you knew that your 100,000 is going to come just from that one show,
Gotcha. I understand.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You'll give everything you have for it.
It's a psychological thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Let me tell you, I tried, I'm guilty. I tried to post to get, I had a tripod in the pit, and I'm like, and it broke. And I'm like, thank God it broke. Okay. By the time I set up the tripod and I try to angle it so I could do an exercise, I've lost that whole mental thing, you know? And in between sets, if you don't stay focused, you lose it. Even when you go on the phone, you still lose it. You know, in between sets is where everything happens. When you train, everything happens. Your whole mental, I don't know what it is, but you lose it. If you get distracted, you lose it. You can't
I agree.
train. You can't train. And then I got to sneeze, man. It's coming and going. It's killing me.
Yeah, we talked about it before too on this show. Eric, you've said it. You know, you shouldn't remember what song was playing. It should just be like a moment of silence that, like, all of a sudden when you come out of your set, you came to again. You're like, oh, this is what's going on around me.
Yeah, I was playing music in the pit, and then this song came on, right? And I'm training legs, and there's three songs in a row, right? And my wife's telling me, she goes, "Is that your playlist?" I mean, there's just like these slow love songs, right? And I was like, "What songs?" She goes, "The 3 songs I just played." I'm like, I couldn't even tell you which one it was.
Wow.
You know, so it's and this is what I'm trying. I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody or better than, you know, I'm just trying to help them achieve what they say, what they want to achieve.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just talk out of both sides of your mouth. Either you want it or you don't. There's no half-assing this. You can't just say, I want to be a competitive bodybuilder and play Russian roulette with your life. You know, and that's where some guys have come to me, and I charge a lot because I want to see how serious they are. Let me tell you, I've trained 6 guys, and I charge them for a whole year, tens of thousands of dollars. They did so well, I gave them their money back.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
Past my
pretty. Wow. Evan, do you hear that?
You're not getting a refund, Chris. Forget it.
You
You know
know,
I love you.
they passed my, I mean, they gave me more than I ever expected. And the thing is, I live vicariously through them, right? So and there's so many good athletes out there that I get frustrated with.
If you had to coach somebody right now, or you are coaching somebody right now, okay, who would you be like, hey, that's a person that I know I could take under my wing, and they're gonna take it to the level that we are all talking about right here, right now.
In the Olympia thing, or
I mean, really, listen, I mean, look at where Ronnie came from, humble beginnings, right? I mean, it really could be any pro. Like, what pro do you look at right now, or pros where you'd be like, yeah, if I had them under my wing and I can bring them back to old school ways, they could see their potential. Who do you look like? Who's the diamond in the rough?
Well, just physique-wise, or the whole way they approach bodybuilding?
I'm going to say physique-wise.
I would take under my wing Patrick Moore.
Wow. Yeah.
But he don't have it.
So you think he's got a tremendous amount of potential in?
Yeah, he don't have the guts though, man.
Well, especially from the first Olympia appearance where everyone was like, oh my God, where did this guy come from? And I think I'm going to be wrong with my placing, but I'm pretty sure it was top 10 if it was like 8th or whatnot. And then it just kind of like teetered off.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah, Patrick Moore to me, if he stayed here with me for a year, not 6 months, for a year, I would have him top 3 in the Olympia. But no distractions. No distractions whatsoever.
Yeah, it's definitely serious. Yeah, and I think that's a good pick.
So we were talking, you mentioned a few Mr. Olympias prior. And obviously this is a subjective thing, but who is your favorite physique-wise Mr. Olympia of all time?
Well, yeah, I'm very close to Lee Haney, because
he's my favorite, hands down.
Well, the thing is, I'm very close to him even back then. In 1984, when he came to Greece, I took him to Mount Olympus and we took those pictures.
Wow,
cool, man.
Yeah. So, but it's Ronnie for me.
Interesting.
Like, if I can close my eyes and just picture myself the way I wanted to look, man, especially those black and white pictures. Remember those? His black and white pictures?
Yeah.
yes.
They were out. It was just freaking peeled, man. Yeah.
Ronnie was a freak. I still like Lee Haney's physique better, but again, it's subjective, but Ronnie was a freak.
I like the see, I'm a grinder guy, right? I love to grind. And for Ronnie to look like that, man, he went through some dark times, and because of my military background, I've been down those dark times, and I know, you just put yourself in a mind frame, and you're just numb. It's just ice water. And I hate to say it, I love it. Like, I go in the pit now and I leave and I'm like on fire. And I'm told my wife, like, you know what? I'm gonna do the Masters. Fuck it, I'm doing the Masters.
Yeah.
Right.
And then in the morning she's like, what do you want, egg whites? I'm like, and I can't barely make it down this and I'm like, I'll just take a cup of coffee. Yeah.
So wait, if they called you for the Masters Olympia, would you do it or you wouldn't do it?
I got to be honest with you, you guys are hearing it first. I was actually getting ready for the Masters.
Really?
Wow.
Interesting. Because I know Vinny, he's dying to get the call.
Vinny's gonna get the call.
Yeah.
I would be very, very mad at Dan, because Dan's a very good friend of mine. And I would actually try to change his mind. But because Vinny deserves.
Yeah.
I
feel
want
like
a
he
favor.
deserves it.
Okay. Vinny deserves to be on that Olympia stage.
Yeah.
So, but I was planning. I've been training almost 6 months now.
Well, you say was planning. Why do you say that? Sounds like it's in the past tense.
The past 2 weeks I've been having major back problems.
Okay.
Is
it a specific injury or
muscle spasms?
Interesting.
Muscle spasms. I tried to turn it up a little, and I said to myself, I was gonna give myself until March, April, and then I was gonna make a decision. And just the week I was going to make a decision, man, I don't know what happened. I don't even know how I did it. And my wife looks at me, she goes, "What happened?" I'm like, "I did it." She goes, "No." I said, "Yeah." And I couldn't move. Basically, just slept on the floor for 3 days.
No work, no workaround, no different therapy,
nothing,
no
nothing.
cryo, no nothing.
Once,
That would
once those muscles in your lower back lock, you're done. You're done.
Yeah, it's
You know?
like debilitating. Yeah, completely
Right.
debilitating.
But here's what happened. Back then I had legs and I had the glutes, but and the Christmas trees. See, to me, that whole back area for me was money. Okay. So, but once I stopped competing, I didn't pay too much attention to it. So throughout the years, I lost my ass, right? But lost the muscularity, lost the strength, lower back got weak. And then as I've been training, nice and slow, I haven't been doing anything. I've been working on it, but nothing crazy. I'm not doing the 405s off the floor. I'm not doing the lunges I used to do, with the 135 in the parking lots. I'm just training my glutes. I'm training my lower back, hyperextensions, blah, blah, blah. But I guess because of my quads have been responding, because I said, if I can bring these legs up, that was the whole thing from November last year. I'm giving myself 16 weeks. If I can bring the legs up, I'm doing the Masters. And my legs grew 7 inches.
Wow.
Right? Yeah.
Wow.
And they look okay. Can they look better? Of course, anything can look better, right? But I was happy enough to say, okay, let me turn it up. But what happened is that my quads were responding so well, my glutes weren't responding as much, and my quads were pulling my hips
Dominating.
forward.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I was fighting that, and fighting and fighting and fighting, and then it hit me. And then I got better, and then 2 days later, boom, hit me again.
Damn.
And now I'm afraid, So I didn't submit anything. So, but I will say, I will go on record that I'm not going to stop. And if I decide that I feel I won't embarrass myself, I won't look the way I used to look, but I'll come in about 225, 230. I'll come in like the old Jimmy Mentis,
Nice.
I would call Dan and say, "Hey, I'm going to Greece for vacation. You want me to fly over there? I'll pay my own way just to have some fun,
Nice.
But that's the way I would do it. I wouldn't expect anybody to pay my way, because I didn't do it like I didn't follow the whole protocol, the thing.
Right.
And I don't want to take anything away from anybody, because I know they're paying for them. They must be paying for their travel or something, right? Because every Mr. Olympia, gets all the expenses paid and travel and stuff. So I don't want to take anything away from anybody. But if that came down to that, that's what I would do.
Cool. Well, we would love to see it as
Yeah.
fans. That would be very
Yeah.
cool.
We'll see. We'll see. If you see posts and you start seeing this face come out,
The
then
diet face.
yeah,
Then
the
we'll know.
dead face.
we'll
And I
text
have
you
that face. I get that face very, very easy. Very easy.
Jimmy Skeletor Mentis.
My friends used to tell me it's like they took 2 frying pans and they hit me on the side of my head.
So just jumping back a little to your pro career, how did you win your pro card? And then tell us about your pro, competing as a pro.
Yeah, I in 1994 I did the Nationals in Orlando. That's when the year Paul DeMeo won. I believe I should have been up there, and I went in 255. That's the year. Yeah, I let's put it this way. I was in 94, I was 255, glutes shredded, everything. And they gave me no love. I placed 7th. Okay. But somebody came to me after the show. They're like, "Why aren't you a pro?" And I said, "Because I haven't won." I said, "Okay." And throughout the years, I used to go out to Weider and do photo shoots and covers and stuff like that, right? So I don't know if it was Jeff Everson or Tom Dieters. I don't remember. But I get a call from Jim Chad, and he goes, "Hey, so and so." Like I said, I don't remember if it was Tom or Jeff. Why don't you fly out to California? Let's do some cover shots. Okay. So I go out there. I see Papa Joe, and I ran into Ben as well. He was there, and Joe thought I was a pro. And I said, "Well, I said, well, not yet." And, what do you mean you're not? And then Ben heard it, and he's like, "Well, you're from Greece, right?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, and he loved Greek mythology. Ben Weeder loved ancient Greece. He loved all that stuff. And he goes, "Well, we're going to fix this." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I'm going to call the Greek Federation, and you're going to go to Greece, and you are going to compete one more time. And if you win, you are going to turn pro. I'm going to call Greece, and we're going to make that happen." Now, that's where all this started. When you win a country, you turn pro. Like Milos won his
right. A lot of guys back then.
So that's what started all this. So we did the cover shot. As a matter of fact, I think that's the cover shot we did, the one you have in the background.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, that cover was done by Mel Zukovsky. He was a photographer for Harper's Bazaar.
I heard your story about how he had just passed away too.
Yeah.
That was an amazing story. And the history is this 96, this cover?
95, I think.
95.
Yep. And so I don't remember. I really remember. So I leave, and I get the call from Greece, and they're like, "Listen, we don't know if we want you to compete, because if you do, no one's going to compete. Why don't you come and guest pose? And we'll give you the letter of recommendation." And Joe and Ben said, "No, you're going to go compete, and you're going to win it fair and square, and then you're going to be a pro, and you'll be the first IFBB pro." I said, "Okay." And that's what I did.
Cool.
And that's what I did, and then I turned pro. Then I only did two pro shows.
So how come only two?
How only two? Because why only two?
Yeah, why only two?
I was traveling a lot. I did a lot of guest appearances and guest posings. A lot. 96, 97, 98, I was on the road 32 to 36 weeks out of the 52.
Wow. Well, that's good though. You were marketable and you're making some money.
I lived out of a body bag, a hot plate, and Tupperware.
Wow.
And I freaking loved it.
Awesome. See, that's cool, man. That's cool to hear. Because I know some pro bodybuilders that would complain, they got to go on the road. And
no, man. Yeah. I go on the road now. I tell my wife, I'll sell everything that's going to reveal. Let's go on the road. Let's go train at every gym in the United States. She goes, "That's cool." She's like, "I can't live like that. I need."
That's my kind of dream for sure.
Right? Yeah. She goes, "I can't live like that. I need a base." I'm like, "You got me. Let's go." She goes, "No, I want a home."
So yeah. One of the shows you did compete in was the Arnold, though, correct?
Yeah.
In 2000.
And I actually wasn't going. I had never planned to do the Arnold. I was in Greece in 1999. I think the Arnold was 2000, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 2000. In 1999, I was in Greece that time in November. And I'm visiting my parents on the island, and I'm just eating, right? I'm eating.
Greek food is good too, man.
Pasticcio. I mean, I'm just eating everything, right? Just eating. And all of a sudden I get a call from my brother, and he goes, "Hey, you got a fax." Remember those faxes back then on a roll? And and he goes, "You got a fax." I'm like, "What is it?" He goes, and I'm eating like spinach pie, spanakopita. He goes, "I think you got the Arnold invite." And I'm like, "Come on, get out of here." He goes, "Yeah, man, you got the Arnold invite. What are you going to do?" I'm like, and I said to myself, I said, "You don't get the Arnold invite and decline it. You just don't. You just don't." Right. That was a Friday. Monday, I was back in the States. And I said, because I was actually going to stop competing. because I was getting tired of just eating, because I always wanted to do a show. And I guess that was, God's way of telling me, hey, you know what? Here's your one big show. Go have fun and call it a day, And I got ready for that show. That's why I actually guest posed. I posed to the song "Bye Bye Bye" by NSYNC.
I'm gonna about to play a clip from it, and then I have a question for you after.
Yeah, good. And the funny part is that when I got ready for that show, I weighed in almost 285.
Wow.
And I was so nervous. I mean, you can see how I'm holding water and stuff. I was so nervous competing at this show. Number one, because I knew it was my last show, right? And number two was I didn't know how I was going to look on stage, because I went from 260 to 285, in a matter of 2 years.
Wow.
So I just went out there and I had fun. That was it.
Cool. I'm going to play a little clip and then I have a question.
Yeah, man. And you can see how the muscles weren't full. I still didn't eat enough. I was 10,000 calories in here.
10,000?
10,000, my friend.
Holy shit.
Wow.
I wish I held water like that, Jimmy.
Yeah.
It still looks phenomenal. Jesus.
Yeah. You can see when I pose, especially the most muscular in the front, I wasn't full.
Side chest is money. That's for sure.
All right, here's my question.
Yeah.
Did you practice lip syncing, or was that spur of the moment?
No, man. I had no idea. I got to tell you, I had no idea I was lip syncing. When I saw the video after, I'm like, oh shit.
That's great. I thought it was great. I just had
I had no idea.
I thought it was cool.
And there
I say this as a compliment. Hopefully you take it as such. You remind me of Charles Claremont.
Yeah. Do you know, when I was in Europe, they thought I was Charles?
So I'm not completely off base on that.
No.
Okay.
I said, I'll take that. I'll take that. Charles is a great guy. You guys should bring him on the show.
He was unbelievable too, man. Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
93 Olympia posing routine, just diamond cut.
Yeah. But here you go again, right? Look at all those European guys. Shredded. Look at the Europeans that are coming now. Shredded.
Hmm.
And that's what happens.
Now, this is good posing, and same thing, like the guys today, I feel like they don't put much into the posing.
Nobody does any posing. I would like to come back to compete just to pose.
What song would you pose to if you were going to compete now?
Frank Sinatra, My Way.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I have I've been playing it in my mind, I vision it. I'm a classic poser too. I mean, I can break dance too, but there's, that would be my my see you later song. I did it my way.
Very cool.
That was definitely what got me into the sport. Probably getting besides the Rich Gaspari video or competition, the 90 Olympia between Rich, between Christian, between Ben Fado. The posing was just off the hook.
90 was Chicago. 90 was Chicago, the drug tested one. That was the drug tested.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
And those posing routines were unreal. And then I lived in Cali for a little bit, and I got to see all the Ironman Pro Invitationals. And during those shows was a lot of great posing as well, because you still had Ben Fado's, your Vince Taylor's. I know I'm missing other great pros that pose, but I mean those shows are always, and then it started to get into like a guest posing kind of routine from that point on. But we always had respect for people that put the time in, especially to pose, classically. And how did all this lead you into what you're doing now with all these great brands like, Beauty Fit and MyoLab?
Well, I had towards the end of my career, I don't even know where the end of my career was, to be honest with you, because I was still competing mentally, even after the 2000 Arnold. I was like, I'll be back, I'll be back, I'll be back, like I said, I'm still trying to compete. But 40, 30 years later, it's how delusional I am. But I knew about ingredients. I knew how the body worked. I was very interested in the science, and there was when I moved down here to the States, and after I won the Florida in '92, there was now they merged, I think, but it was a place called Wild Oats. It was like a Whole Foods type of thing. But we're talking about like really like old school, like from back in the '90s, right? And they would have little jars of ingredients that you go with a little scoop and you put them in a Ziploc bag and stuff. So I would go and get the ingredients and take a little of this, take a little of that, put a little of this, put it in a bowl, take a tablespoon and take and go train. So I was always looking for a decent fat burner because I used to take those clenbuterols, right? And they just didn't hit me the way everybody used to brag about. Okay. So I was trying to find a stimulant that would get to the energy because we didn't have pre-workouts then. And so what I did is I would make my own concoction and I would just play Russian roulette and then take a tablespoon and go train. And I would be like, one day I'd be like, oh, fall asleep, this shit don't work. Then the next day I'd be like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a heart attack. I'm like, okay, let's go happy medium, And that's how that's how I came up with my first fat burner that was called, little did I know, it was called Advanced Lipocatabolic System. And then we abbreviated, called it ALS.
Yeah, that's a long name.
Oh,
Right?
ALS, shit.
ALS.
Right. So after ALS, and everybody loved it. That's when spinning first came out. Okay. And Johnny G had brought spinning to Florida, and I was teaching spinning, and I became such a great instructor that I was going to other gyms to teach. So
Wow.
I was selling my fat burner called ALS until someone told me, you know what ALS is? I'm like, yeah, it's my fat burner. He goes, no, ALS is Lou Gehrig's disease. I'm like, holy shit. So then I named it Thin Pill, ThinPill. With that name, somebody from Gunther Ranker saw it, and we went infomercials.
Wow. So did it blow up?
It blew up, and then we got sued. We got sued by a company. I still think it was Iovate, okay, because we actually had, back then you couldn't name your competitor. Now you can, right?
Right.
But I had a bottle that looked like the hydroxycut, but the whole red, orange, purple,
Yeah.
And then you had mine, and you had to take 6 hydroxycut, and you only had to take 1 of mine, right? So we did amazing, but then we got sued, and I was piss broke. So I was like, I had some
sucks, man.
Yeah, we made some money. I'm like, guys, we're good. I'm happy. Let's shut it down. And Script to Screen was paying the media and doing that stuff. And that's where I met George Foreman, because I actually walked into their whole office in California, and the original George Foreman grill is in a glass case as soon as you walk in. And the Suzanne Summer Steinmaster. So I'm like, shit, I'm in big time now, right? So I took the Thin Pill and did it on my own. And that Thin Pill was relabeled by other companies 13 times to this day.
Holy cow.
My God, wow.
So that's part of the royalties you were talking about, where you're still.
That's one of them. And that's the original product that I started with, Beauty Fuel. Beauty Fuel is that product. My initial product that I launched Beauty Fit with. So if you look at the ingredients of that product, that's 30 years ago.
Wow.
And now they're making these formulas.
Wow.
Focus, this, that, you know.
Yeah. You
I
already
had
had
phos-
that.
I had phosphatidylserine, alpha GPC. I had them back then.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
all
wouldn't.
popular now.
Yeah, I would not have known them back then at all.
Right, right. And the thing is, nobody knew them then either. But they loved the way they felt, right? And they felt good. And when I launched Beauty Fuel, it was in the Lipo 6 red line days. And I was not going to play that game with Jack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I'm not going to spend millions to say mine's a crack pill just like yours. So I wanted to go to the women who didn't want to be cracked out. And that's how it all started.
Smart.
Yeah.
Very
Super
smart.
smart.
And I just, but I learned a lot through being the guy behind the scenes. I learned a lot. I've worked with some amazing brands. I've been through some huge acquisitions. Um, uh, I've learned a lot. I've been through some savvy businessmen, not from our industry. Our industry, just like me, blue collar guys, hey, we're hustlers that we ended up hustling a lot more and we're making money, right?
Right.
We're talking about when they come from up top, right? You got corporate guys that are some of them are just assholes, right? But you got corporate guys that were us, and then they made that corporate move, but still kept that attitude with the corporate budget, right? And see, right now I'm working with Beauty Fit. I'm working with another major company, skincare, that we're kind of working something out. And that's the 800-pound gorilla teaching me instead of bossing me.
Right. That's good. That's a good relationship.
Yeah.
Back in
I've
the
learned
day when you were, a pro and an amateur, did you have a sponsorship?
No,
Never?
no.
Wow.
I didn't believe in any of the products. The only person that gave me some love and I accepted the love was John Perillo.
Wow,
remember
Cap
that.
Tree.
Up to this
Yeah.
day, I can get up right now, go into the kitchen here at the office, and I got my bottle of Captri sitting on the table.
I bought into the whole system, the book, the everything,
Yep.
this whole thing. I tried it back then.
His bars, everything. I had everything. And that's especially the Captri. At one point, I was taking 4,000 calories a day just from the Captri.
Wow. What was that again? I don't remember. Was it MCT oil?
Yeah,
Fractionated
so.
coconut oil. Yes.
Yeah.
So it was MCT. Okay.
Yep. Way
Wow.
before its time.
Yeah. I remember it back then. Yeah.
I
That's
remember
wild.
I was like, oh, I'll just take 1,000 calories of this. Next thing you know, I'm just shitting my brains out.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
That much
He was-
coconut oil, MCT is probably not a good idea.
It was horrible. Like, hey, let's just back off a little. We'll do this nice.
I think he had a crazy. Was his diet like all about turkey too? Like he had like a ton of turkey in his diet with his. I know he'd always have those ads in the magazines, and like you said, the Captri. And I know there was another product as well.
I can't
But they-
remember the diet, but I had the book and I followed the diet.
Yeah.
It was particular, but I can't remember the
Yeah.
specifics.
I remember I had issues with my calves, and then he kept telling me, you need to stretch, because he believed, and to this day, I still do it. You stretch in between sets, every body part. You're training legs, quads, you stretch in between, because what happens is that you have say that when you take a balloon and you blow it up the first time, and then you let the air out, right? And you blow it up again. What happens? You make it even bigger.
Bandit, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you train. Once the blood's in there, you stretch it out. Now your next set, you can actually put more blood into the muscle. So I learned from that, and then he showed me some exercises for calves. I don't know if you guys seen it, the one that you just basically sit on your heels and just go up on your toes. And I'm like, this is easy. I couldn't walk for 6 days.
Wow.
So he's done a lot of good things for me in my life. I stay in touch with him. He's in the Ohio area. He's in Cincinnati, I think.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Still plugging
Wow.
away his products.
Wow, Perillo, man, old school.
Yeah, that's bringing me back.
Definitely.
So you got Beauty Fit. You have another company as well?
I also have Myolabs.
Myolabs, right?
Myolabs was the red-headed, freckled brother of Beauty Fit. When I started getting distribution all over the world in different countries, I started building amazing relationships with distributors and stuff. And they're like, man, we love your brand for women. What do you have for men? So I created a brand for men, but I never promoted it. It was like, hey, it was like, here's your 7 pallets of Beauty Fit and here's your 3 pallets of Biolabs. It wasn't like I did anything with it.
Right.
And then a couple of years ago, right before COVID, I decided to give it a run, and then COVID hit. So I kind of shut that down in a way. But I still had inventory, friends that would call me and stuff, different mom and pop stores would still sell it. But now that I have some more free time and things are going on, I'm going to go full blown with Biolabs.
Cool.
Yeah,
I assume you guys also sell direct to consumer on your website, right?
D2C is the way to go for me. I don't like to play that middleman anymore.
You make much better margins D2C.
Here's the thing, I've had amazing experiences, amazing results, and times with the GNCs, the Walmarts, Bed Bath and Beyonds and stuff like that. I mean, even Beauty Fit's in Sephora, it's in Ulta, right?
Oh wow, that's a
Wow.
Slowly but surely, we're pulling out.
Interesting.
Our direct to consumer is just phenomenal.
Much better margins. You can remarket to your customers.
The way the retailers are doing it now, it's just a game. You have to pay to play, and then when you let's say you get $1 million invoice, at the end of the day, you probably owe them money because they do the chargebacks, they do the this. And the thing is, you can't police that, and they got you in the walls,
right?
So
you don't get paid for like 90 days, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, it depends how the power that you have. In the beginning, it's 90 days. Now it's COD for me,
That's good.
But still, I mean, I just got an invoice from one of these guys, and they're like, I'm like, what happened to the $75,000? Why is deducted $75,000? Oh, it's for our newsletter.
I mean, people get away with that, Jimmy.
For a newsletter.
And they didn't send you an email and say, hey, we're planning this.
No.
I mean, I'm in retail. I would, forget it. That'd be like death to the partnership. And conscience wise, I wouldn't be able to do that. That's crazy. That's crazy.
And there are the same company, the same retailer in a different country always gives me a heads up. Hey, you want to participate in this? You want to participate in this? I'm like, sure, let's do it. This was nothing. This was like, hey man, listen, let's see how serious you are. Man. So I get another PO from them. I never filled it. Never filled it. I'm like, I'm not interested. I'm like, how could you not be interested? I got people outside my door waiting on me. Like, then don't worry. I said, then don't worry about me. I'm not being an ass. I'm not being hard to. I just understand my customer, especially with Beauty Fit. I'm 15 years in this business with Beauty Fit, so women are very loyal. We're not like us, okay? a new pre-workout comes out, like shit, I'm getting it.
Yeah. There's no loyalty there.
Women will buy what they buy every day, but they'll buy something new too,
right?
Just to try it out. But they'll buy what they want to buy, and they're loyal. I mean, I have customers with Beauty Fit that have spent over $20,000-$30,000. I look at their accounts. I log in, I look at their accounts, I'm like, and I tell my wife, I said, Timmy, you know what? Go to the front desk, look her address up, and send her a case of this.
Yeah. You got to take care of those customers.
And next thing you know, they get a case, and they're like,
that's awesome.
I think you guys made a mistake. I'm like, no. And then they DM me through Facebook because I'm hands-on.
Yeah, you're a relationship guy.
Yeah. I got ladies, customers DMing me saying, hey, I didn't get I didn't get this in the thing. And instead of this, do you think I can switch out with this? They're calling me to switch out their products. They're calling me saying, hey, I saw you have a t-shirt. What size do you think I wear? Small, medium? I'm like, girl. But that's me. That's what I do every day.
That's great. That's the way to be.
Yeah. And it's but everybody should be like that. And there's some people who do that, but a lot of owners nowadays built that wall and they forget how
the mistake.
Yeah, they forget how they got. The more successful Beauty Fit was, even at its hard times. Let me tell you something. Beauty Fit just didn't go like this. Okay, Beauty Fit went like this, then it went like this,
Interesting.
then it went like this, went like this, then it went up. Then I realized the mistakes I was making is I was focusing on a demographic that made no sense. I went to the fitness, but it made sense for me in the fitness because that's where my foot is. That's where I foot in the door. Right. And I kept sponsoring shows. I kept doing booths and traveling, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I'm going through $120,000 worth of samples every quarter.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, I'm done. But when I realized though, is the women who were coming to the booths were the women who were watching their friends compete.
Gotcha.
You know, then we started hitting the expos, the women's expos, right? Then we started doing that kind of stuff. That's when it just took off. I pulled out of everything and I said, you know what? I'm going straight to my girls. Then I built a Facebook page. It's been 9 years now. It's called Club Beauty Fit. I have about 630 women in there. I'm the only guy. And I do coffee with the boss man once a week. I do training Tuesday.
That's cool.
I built, and the thing is, I let these women talk about anything. I've protected them. You can't find it on Facebook. You have to be invited by someone from within. And a couple of years ago, someone invited 2 other people, and they were really going at it. And I got in the middle, took them out of the group, and that's where they really saw that I was protecting them.
Yeah. Community so important.
Community.
So smart.
Good product, community, and you know what? When you have a good product, people will buy it. It's not an expensive product, a good product, you know?
Yeah. The trick is getting that awareness of, getting it in the hands of people or in front of people.
Just give it to them. Just give it to them. I do no samples anymore. I'd rather give someone a whole product. There you go.
I've given, I don't have samples of my product, but I've given free jars, lots of them.
To do samples, I do have 50,000 samples, 100,000 samples. So you need about $40,000 worth of samples. Put it in product. Put it in product. Give it to them.
Jay, hopefully headquarters is listening to this.
Yeah, it's funny Chris mentions that because we always struggle, like the cost of samples. It's very expensive. It's like you said, it's easier to give out product.
Well, here's the thing. What's a sample going to do to me? You give me a fat burner, right? What's it going to do to me? Give me energy?
Okay. Take it once, it's not,
Yeah.
This is great.
You want to experience it.
Yeah.
For multiple days.
My beauty balm, which is the anti-cellulite cream, right? Which is my #1 product. This is what made Beauty Fit, to be honest with you. We have samples and we stop the samples. Like one application of beauty balm is not going to make your skin not have any ripples in it. So we started giving away tubes. The sample pack cost me $1.50. Okay, I'd rather give away a tube. It cost me $5, $6, $7, whatever. Give it away. Now you got a whole tube. You got 2-3 weeks. Put it on every day, and if you don't like it, then you don't like it. But then we saw the reason.
He's definitely on to something, Jay.
Oh, smart.
He's ready to go back to the factory right now and start making carburetor bars.
Let me send you a couple of labels.
We'll get Tim on it.
Yeah.
All right, so you have those 2 brands, right? You got Maya Labs, you got Beauty Fit, and you have your gym. Anything else in the works for the future for you, or those are the 3 things you concentrate on?
I'm planning on expanding the pits in different states.
Franchise-wise, or opening your own?
That's a good question. I don't know if I can do a franchise because franchising, you would have to cookie cutter everything. When you cookie cutter everything for old school machines, you don't know what you're going to find, right? But you also know the demographic. But I am looking right now into Vegas.
Vegas is a hot spot right now for fitness.
I actually, the reason why I'm doing this is actually I want to go play with everybody there. Like I want to get in the mix. I want to rattle things up over there because I know the pit will do amazing. if I keep the same concept that I have here, I know the pit in Vegas.
Explain to our audience what's the concept. What's the pit like?
The pit is it's 4 black walls, mirrors, 2 speakers, and a bathroom. You have a code, you get in. There's no front desk. The front desk people, nothing. Okay. As soon as you walk in, we should have done it over there. We're taking you guys on a tour. As soon as you walk in, there's a counter, there's a pro shop, and there are lockers. If you want to buy something, the prices are on it. Take the money. You write on a sticky what you took, and you put the money in my locker. No locks on the locker.
The honor system.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah, it's like what they call CrossFit, right? A box, but
For
a
you,
box with equipment.
for you to come in, you would have to bring someone in. Like, you can't just come in and say, hey, I'd like to train here. So if say I was a member of the pit and I want to bring someone in, he's my responsibility.
Gotcha.
See what I'm saying?
Yep. How many square feet is it?
Right now, this is only 25. I literally built the pit for myself. I had no intentions of letting anybody in. Okay. And then my wife says, I had a buddy of mine, he invaded my space. And then he went on Snapchat when Snapchat was big back then. And people were like, hey man, where is that? Like, it's Jimbo's and Jimbo's. Next time I'm getting DMs, right? DMs from guys that I've known for 20 years. And I've trained with at different gyms, Golds and Sunrise. I know that they're old school guys.
Right.
And I was like, all right, you guys can come and train. You guys can come and train. And then my wife turns on, she goes, honey, you know what? You need to open this up to guys like you. This is your medicine. This is where people like you come and you just guys go all out, So I did. There's not a lot of people, I don't have a lot of people. But I've collected very, very, very rare pieces of equipment. From flex leverage to Nautilus to swing squats. I mean, I've had pros come and train. I've had actors come and train. I've had pro NFL come in, and they're like, "Holy shit, this is great!" So I wanted to expand next door, but the other 3,000 square feet won't be available for another year. So I don't know if I want to wait, but I want to expand this.
Gotcha. And what part of Florida is the gym located in?
Sunrise.
Sunrise.
I'm right by the hockey stadium where the Panthers play.
Okay, cool.
Sawgrass Mall. Yeah, right by there.
Very
So
cool.
it's been great, man. I'm having a blast. So if I get a couple more gyms out there, one in Vegas that I'm actually looking at right now, and then maybe come up there, Northeast, do one in Texas, and then do one in Ohio somewhere.
What about Jersey?
I'm looking to do 14 total in the next 3 years.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty aggressive.
Wow.
So
I think it's a great concept. It's very unique. It's definitely what people, I think, like any of us on this podcast would look for. I love those gems, those hidden, dungeons where you could dig in. And Jay and Eric, I never told you guys, but one of the first times I reached out to Jimmy before I got to know him through my friend Vinny was DMing him on a piece of flex equipment that he bought. And I said, I just wrote to him, gold. And I remember you wrote back to me and I was like, oh my God, like the famous like Dorian Yates flex press, where, obviously the angles come to a close and you can track that much more. And I remember watching you on one of your, I'm not sure if it's recent podcast, but one of your many podcasts where you talked about how that product was different back then with cams and how you actually had to work harder with those type of machines, whether it was Nautilus or whether it was, Flex or Body Masters versus some of the stuff, that's out there now where it's anatomically just makes it a lot more easier for you. to do the movement. I found that was like a really interesting perspective that you had on that.
I really think, I really think the machines back then, you had to learn how to work them, and you had to go different angles. Now all you do is sit in it, and you basically just move it, and it actually counts the reps for you. So
Yeah.
the old school pieces, engineers built them. The new school, attorneys built them.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah.
I'm very good friends with Tom Eilerman. You guys know that name?
I do not.
No, I don't.
Nebula.
Okay, I know Nebula.
Oh,
Nebula,
the world's greatest
Nebula.
leg press, right?
Right. So leg press, hack squat, all that stuff. Tom, if I can say so, was a student for John Perlow, built in those machines. Then Tom he built that Nebula leg press and started all Nebula, the fitness, that hack, everything. And that Tom's leg press now, the old leg press now sells for 10 grand.
That's we put that Jay in the animal gym. That's the Nebula.
Yeah.
Right. So, but Tom now is back out. He's back in it. Somehow, some way.
Cool.
I like to say I convinced him. He has signed a deal. It's about a year now. He has signed a deal with TKO Sports.
Okay, I remember. Yeah.
And they've put together, and I have the first leg press in the pit. He redid the leg press, but instead of having the angle footprint, it's an adjustable foot pad.
That's nice.
Right? But it's still the same thing. I mean, it's just a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. So I got the old one and the new one next to each other.
Cool.
And I don't know which one to go to. So just talk to Tom. I see the difference on how he thinks I'm building a piece of equipment to the new guys at Nautilus, at Life Fitness, when I speak to the engineers there. They're thinking about movement. Tom's thinking about angles. Big difference.
It's a great way to describe that.
Big difference, because you can get the one machine that I always go on, and it depends where I want it to hit, is the Flex Bisolator. Okay.
I remember that. Yep.
It's okay. So that Flex Bisolator can hit anywhere in their bicep, but you have to adjust yourself to it. You can't just sit in it and curl. Okay. You have to either sit up, you want to hit down the lower head. You want to hit up, you got to get underneath. You have to adjust accordingly. And I realized that with all the machines, if you want something to hit a specific part of the body, you have to set yourself accordingly. Now, you get into a machine. I got to tell you, the past 4 years, I haven't really trained in a new gym, so I don't know. And if I go somewhere, I go to Georgia. There's another gym up there called Madhouse Gym. Okay, it was an old Kmart. It blows away the pit. Blows away. I mean, you take the pit, add 100 times to it. He's got 72 pieces, just back machines. Wow. Yeah, it was an old Kmart, and he's got all this old school in there. And then you got Kiss Me Muscle Gym in Orlando. Like, everybody's starting to catch on and bringing all these old school pieces. I mean, a flex leverage chest now is going for $7 grand.
Man. Wow.
Yeah, it looks like brands like Panada, right? And I might mispronounce this one. I think it's Max Pump. Obviously Arsenal from Flex Lewis. You got some of these things that are kind of like Hammer Strength, and make it harder for you. I think Arsenals are pretty hard machines. And then you see some of this Panada stuff, and it's like, wow, the Ferrari of, weightlifting equipment. But some of those angles, sometimes I love some of their stuff, and there's some other stuff that I'm like, wow, just anatomically doesn't work out. So it's different.
Yeah, I mean, even back then, some brands had their pieces, like Bodymaster, right? Bodymaster had that linear, right, the pec deck, but they also had that linear hack squat, the one that has no shoulders, right? You got that one. Then it also has the what was it called? Their hack squat, but it was that three different hack squats. The one hack squat was on a more of a 45-degree angle, it was like a box. So everybody has their horses in the race. Panada's been around since the 80s.
Yeah.
When I competed in Greece, Rudy Panada, the father, used to sponsor the Mr. Grease shows.
Cool.
So they've been around, it's again, it's a matter of who you're catering to. Arsenal is basically Tom Eilerman's brand. Tom Eilerman sold Nebula to Rogue. If you look at their leg presses, they're all Nebulas. They're all the specs, the blueprints are Nebulas. And then Arsenal bought the blueprints from Rogue.
Interesting.
Yeah, go back and look at all their pieces.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That whole tricep from Arsenal, with the ball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Tom Eilerman's. That's a Nebula piece.
I will say the one piece of modern equipment that I really like, and I like the old school machines much better, but the pendulum squat. I like a lot.
Yes.
I like it better than a hack squat. For some reason, most hack squats bother my knees. Nothing else bothers my knees, but most hack squats, but the pendulum feels great.
Yeah. I have the pendulum hack squat, the pendulum squat, but that squat came from the swing squat.
You're right. The swing squat was around a long time ago.
Right.
Strong and Shapely had it.
I was just going to say that. Bob
Yeah.
Bonham had the first one
That's right.
with the round pillows for his
Right.
And he was describing how shaky it was.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually have it in the pit. I got rid of the pendulum squat. I sold it. And I found the swing squat. And I put it in there. The swing squat is the original pendulum squat. Then everybody went around and like Paramount and Atlantis, and they said, listen, this piece is just too big and too shaky. Let's make it a little different.
Right.
All those machines are amazing, man. All those, everything. I had the hip press from Rogers. Killer.
What's
But
a hip press?
It's a hip press.
What is that? What is that? Like
It's
describe?
a seated leg press.
Okay.
But the angle, it wasn't coming straight at you. It would come up. So it's one of these motions, right? But again, they're old school.
Yeah.
If you see their original pieces, you'd be like, oh my God, now I know where you came from.
Right. Vertical leg press, you don't see those often.
I had the streamline in the pit, and I had to get rid of it because I loved it so much. I would get under it and it ruined my back.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I
was gonna
literally had to sell it.
Wow.
Yeah. And I sold to a kid in New Jersey who's got that gym up there, that hardcore gym. His name is Nick.
Which
It's a hardcore.
which one?
It's a hardcore gym.
There's quite a few hardcore gyms in New Jersey.
I know there are. I don't know. I forget the name.
And Eric, you were right. The Tellus was
Iron
unbelievable.
Revolution.
Might be Iron.
He lives down here too. He's got a grocery store, and he saw me post it, and he goes, "I'm coming to get it." And then he paid me, and I'm like, "Well, when are you going to get it?" He goes, "I just want to secure it. You can keep it here. I'm going to New Jersey. I'll be back in a couple of months." I'm like, "No, dude, you got to get this out of here. I'm going to be paralyzed by then."
Wild.
So yeah. So it's good. It's all good, man. It's all good.
Awesome.
That is-
Yeah.
Great stuff, Jimmy. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew, we all knew just from like watching your stuff and listening to you, just, my God, this guy's got so many things going on. It's unbelievable. And they're
I
all
get
good.
depressed. If my plate
No,
isn't
why-
full,
Why would you get depressed? It's great stuff.
if my plate isn't full, I'm depressed.
Oh, if you're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I
Gotcha.
don't wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh my God, something's wrong with me.
Love it.
Yeah. I think we could relate.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And my wife's like, why don't we slow down a little? Why don't we do this? I'm like, it's like, girl, you need to run with me.
Love it.
You need to run with me. So she goes, yeah, but we're I'm 57. You know, she's 52. She goes, yeah, but let's. I said, she goes, I said, you're my ride or die, right? I said, better start running with me. I'll leave you behind. You know?
It'll keep you spry. It'll keep you young. That's for sure. Yeah.
Oh, this woman runs circles around me. Circles. Okay. She's a total opposite of me. She's the calm, but you throw her on a lake, any water sports, forget it. It's like a kid in a candy store.
Okay.
But she's very, very active and stuff like that. But you know what? She can sit in bed all day. I can't.
Me neither.
I can't. Like, even my back is hurting, I still get antsy in bed. You know, we would go out, you know, our vacations are going to different shows and we stay there a couple more days and stuff like that, right? So we would come back home. She goes, let's sit in bed for a whole day. Like, you're out of your mind. She goes, why? Can't you just learn how to relax? I said, yeah, let's go downstairs. Open up my laptop, put a movie on, and I'll relax.
Yeah.
You're always working on something.
I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes I've tried. I'll be honest with you. I've tried to slow down. Now, here's the thing. I'm not as all over the place as I used to be. Okay. I realized what I can do and what I can't do. I'm very much more self-aware. The company I keep is very small, very small. Vinny's still in the picture. You know, because I'll get a text from Vinny at 7:30 in the morning. JM, what's up? 7:30, dude, I'm still sleeping. This guy's up at 5 o'clock. So it's just a matter of, you know, positioning where my head's at every day. You know, what do I want to accomplish? What do I, you know, I don't know. You know, I don't have an agenda anymore.
What are you talking about? You got 14 gyms you want to open up.
But to me,
I can't wait to hear if it's going to come over here. I want to join them.
But to me, I don't need to learn that. It's just executing. You know, like for me to start a whole new supplement company, I can. I'm starting to build. I've built 2 brands in the matter of 3 months for somebody else, for 2 other people. And they're like, how does this happen to you? But it's like you guys, you know, you do what you do and it's not work for you anymore. You know, you have your ups and downs. I'm not saying that. But for me to do what I'm doing, it's not hard for me anymore. I'm not saying being successful. I'm not saying that I'm going to do it and be successful, but to create this, to go through the motions, okay? It's easy for me. I can build, you and I, the 4 of us can get on a call tomorrow, pick a name, and within 8 weeks, I will have a brand of 6 products, a look, and a marketing plan all put together.
Don't tease us. We've been talking about it.
Yeah, we.
You know?
You have no idea.
You know,
Yeah.
so, but again, that's how I tick. That's just me. Now you tell me to change my flat tire, my car, I wouldn't know where to start. I'll cry.
Yeah.
I'd be like AAA, 911, 411. I'd be like, you know, I mean, I had the Mercedes, and thank God I had the Mercedes thing. I'm like, call up, you know, because I had rims on it and I was afraid to ruin them. But now I got a Raptor. I just run over everything. I don't care. Flat tire, whatever, just go. You know?
Love it.
So you know, again,
Perfect.
you know, I've become very self-aware of what I like to do and what I'm good at. And I don't even try to fix what I'm not good at, because back then, that's what I used to do. I'm not good at this. I need to master it. You know, I know what I'm good at and I triple down on it.
Play to your strengths. I think it's
Yes.
I
smart.
love that.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Smart. This is awesome, man. This was a great podcast, man. I learned so much.
I
It's very cool. We
That's the
appreciate
best
your
part of
time.
the whole process, really. We, you know, like I said, Vinny had nothing but unbelievable things to say about you, and whatever we read and learned about you, and just being gracious with your time and your stories. I mean, these are just things you just never would know, between training with Rich and being in the Greek military. I mean, it's just God. I mean, when's the book coming out? It's insane.
There was a book.
Serious.
There was a book in the process, but I kiboshed it for a little while. The book's called Nothing Without a Purpose.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
It's a little too early for it to come out.
Okay.
Story is still being written.
We're gonna. There's some things in it that we need to wait a couple of years
Okay. That's all fair.
until those NDAs and those no competes are done.
Gotcha. Understood.
I'll look forward to that too. And Jimmy, we can't thank you enough. Again, your time, just the journey, learning about you, all the great things. Want to make sure everyone also who watches this knows how to follow you best. And I know you talked about in the beginning of the episode, but be good to talk about at the end as well. What are the best ways for everyone to reach
Just
you?
IG is Jimmy Mentis 1. I also own Mentis, but I was hacked 10 years ago, and 6 months ago, somehow, some way, I got an email saying that if I want my IG back, to go get it. So I have Jimmy Mentis, which I just left it there, but Jimmy Mentis 1 is my IG, and then Facebook is Jimmy Mentis. I don't have a YouTube channel or anything, but
Otherwise, they can do for your products. They just go to MyoLabs, go to BeautyFit.
Yeah, beautyfit.com or myolabsusa.com.
And if they want to get a chance to train at the pit, how do they do that?
They just DM me.
Okay.
I get DM. They're like, "Hey man, I'm in town.
I'm coming to Florida soon, so I'm going to DM you."
Let's do a training at the pit and a Panthers Rangers game, and we can.
You guys
That'd be
set
great.
that up. I'll get
That'd
you
be
guys
amazing.
tickets. We'll all go.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome, man. We'd really look forward to that.
Yeah, whenever the Rangers or the Islanders play down here, it's a madhouse.
Yeah.
It's a
Well, you got a lot of transplants down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a madhouse. All you see is Islanders and Rangers shirt jerseys all over the place. You hardly even see Panthers.
Love it.
Yeah, it's like an away game for the Panthers.
Love it. Good.
That's
Cool.
great.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being on. We appreciate you.
Good
And,
success. Yes.
Looking forward to following you more too. Thank you so much, Jimmy.
Yeah, same here.
You guys have a good one. Thank you.
You as well.
You too, Jimmy. Take care.
Thank you.